wanted to do this video for a while, and even though this YouTube channel is dedicated to finding Hassan gigs and jobs in acting, all that, but I have some other interests too that kind of occupy me from time to time. One of them is interest in astronomy and the sciences. There's a lot of areas that I am a general reader, but also it coincides with some other interests which are not scientific, more like occult sciences. Actually, it runs in my family, but we don't really publicize it too much. Like things like psychometry, uh, mediumship, psychic readings, and a few others. Well, you know that many astronomers in the past and a lot of the new ones they were also into occult sciences. For example, Kepler was not only astronomer, he was also astrologer, and there is a concept, it's called psychometry, or a practice that's called psychometry, whereby like say somebody has a ring or a book or something that's of value to them, and then they depart or they sell it or somebody else gets it, and when you touch this item you get those energies, those you get a sense of that person or what was going on with it. Well, this talent doesn't have to be limited to a small object. It could be applied to larger objects. One would be like a planet, or let's say Mars, right? Well, if you read a lot of the accounts, early accounts, or later on, or kind of research what artists and astronomers have said as a first impression about Mars, you will come to some certain conclusions that many of these first impressions were very similar. For example, Schiaparelli and Lowell, they looked at Mars and they saw channels, and they imagined that there were creatures that they were struggling to acquire water from the poles. And that's what Schiaparelli named canales on Mars. And then Flammarion talks about visions of extraterrestrials. Well, this extends to movies. For example, in the movie Total Recall, you will see that they encounter mines or big geo changing kind of engineering to bring back the atmosphere as it was, or there is even a hint of that the existing extraterrestrial or Martian. This extends to other movies, like other movies. They just totally imagine that there is or there was Martians, and my own first impression about Mars was that I had this telescope, and it wasn't a very good one. It was like I it had a mount, but it wasn't that great. The mount wasn't very good, so I used it like a binocular, and finally I spotted Mars. As soon as I saw it, I knew it was Mars because it was kind of reddish and it danced a lot. It was hard to focus on it because there was a lot of motion on it. So I had to kind of study it. It got tiring, but the main point is that as soon as I saw it, I knew it was Mars. It wasn't another planet. And looking back in history, even the word Mars, which is like a really a Greek Roman name, it implies war. It implies suffering. You know, the color is red. My impression of it, the very first impression of it that I had, was that this is a place of a struggle of a group of people or group of creatures that are trying to survive or fight against great odds, something like that. And well, this these impressions that many of these artists and astronomers and there is a really a name for this. This is called the first psychic impression. Okay, say for example there is an astronomer and he's not really a psychic or he's not really an astrologer, but these impressions that are embedded in that planet or in that object, they come in. What he or she would try to do is try to justify these impressions by scientific reasoning or by artistic imagining, but really these impressions, they exist. They have an existence of their own, independent of these scientific theories, many of which were proven to be false or we don't know. Well, this concept is very similar to what happened. I was doing a reading for someone, and after I finished the reading, well, he told me, Hassan, this reading you gave me is exactly the same reading I got from another psychic, which means that you know the impressions of conscious creatures, they kind of change objects. They become attached to it. It's like a smell or something that's embedded in that space, and subsequent people, whether they're astronomers or they're like they're psychics or they're astrologer or they're artists, as soon as they see this first impression, they latch onto it and they get it. But then the problem becomes like how do you justify this impression that there is no basis in today's reality as I perceive it, or as the scientific theories would imply that this can't be. Well, I was very surprised because I practice Sufism too, and in the writing of the Sufi master Shah Mahsud, he mentions Mars and that there was a race of extraterrestrials and they were struggling to maintain themselves or as in the face of their planet dying, and they had constructed space mirrors to heat up certain portions of their planet, you know, to continue to exist, you know, for survival. And then his son, which is the new Sufi master, he mentioned that they had comparable technologies comparable to the 20th century, And anyhow, these little scripts or these little ideas keep coming up in many different forms, and I think that there is reason to believe that Mars is a very interesting place. It might have a very long history, and what we know from NASA explorations is that Mars did have oceans, and we can see the outlines of the oceans. And there is another interesting fact that correlates with that one. Okay, if you look at the pictures of the Mars, you see that you see these huge floodplains. Okay, so my theory is that the planet gradually cooled, and either because of the sun, the amount of sunshine it receives, or because of the internal heat, and these oceans, they froze. And because there is a certain amount of dust or space particles that lands on the surface of any planet, there is a very thin layer. By thin I mean maybe so many meters of soil that's on top of this ice. And every once in a while, either due to the extra sun that it might be getting, or due to internal heat, uh, some of this ice melts, and you see that it leaks into the surface because it has internal pressure and creates floods. And this is very widespread on Mars. You see all these places where a lot of stones have been broken, or big pieces of rock, as if there was a huge flood, and all this rock and all these debris were strewn everywhere. The whole place is like that. And then from the space you can see that there is the outline of oceans, like vast oceans. This is consistent with some of these psychic or spiritual impressions of this planet. The other reason to believe that Mars has had extensive life history in the past is detection of methane in larger concentrations or general concentration in Mars. And methane is not a gas that can survive for a long time. By long time I mean it dissipates within 300 years. So if there is a consistent supply of methane in the atmosphere of Mars, that means that there are bacteria in certain regions, or in a higher concentration in certain regions than others, that are generating methane in varying quantities. They're supplying the atmosphere with that gas. One other clue is there. Where on the planet Earth, the only place you can find meteorites very easily would be the poles. And somebody found the meteorite. I mean, it's really easy to find them because all this snow, and then suddenly you come to a rock. Okay, this rock came from space, from sky, because there's all there is here is the snow. So somebody found a stone or meteorite by a hill that was called Allen Hill. And later on, when they looked into this meteorite and cut it open, there were microscopic structures that were very similar to fossilized nanobacteria. So this is a really good indication that there is some type of bacteria life form there, and also uh, the reason they think that this Allen Hill rock came from Mars is because there were uh, there were gas bubbles inside the rock, and they analyzed these gas bubbles, and it compared uh, to the atmosphere that was reported by previous space missions to Mars. I think it was Viking. Anyhow, so there is a good evidence, there is good reason to believe that that rock came from Mars, either from a volcanic eruption or from another asteroid hitting it and ejecting the rock into the space. Uh, there is strong evidence to believe that this rock wasn't part of the planet Earth. And so, there is one other area that kind of points to these same conclusions, and that's there are many sites on the internet that are dedicated to Mars anomalies and seeing geometric structures or geometric objects or things that nature doesn't build by itself without some kind of improvisation. Those are tantalizing evidence that there is some reasons to believe this place could have a much richer history than we imagine. Well, when you look at the analysis by NASA, even though they have a lot of equipment and spacecrafts around Mars, or they even have landed there, their analysis and their attitude is very pessimistic and very harsh view that no, there couldn't be any kind of life, or I mean, they have had experiments with the soil of the Mars, and the conclusions were quite contradictory, but they never want to look at those experiments and make some other kind of overall theoretical decisions about it. There is reason to believe that Mars was much warmer than it is now. Like I'm guessing that at some point in its history, concurrent with Earth, it evolved life, and it had a rich biosphere, but the planet gradually died out. And what happens when creatures evolve, like animals evolve, is because they're under duress, because they're constantly looking for more food or heat or security, and this prompts any kind of creature to become innovative. It not only changes them internally biologically, because they have to constantly adapt to more threatening new circumstances, but also it helps them grow intellectually. And I am guessing that this is what happened there, that there was a struggle, but because the temperatures and the geology was constantly changing, but these changes weren't extremely rapid. Even if we look at the evolution of human beings, we see that humanity evolved because there was an ice age, and these primates had to get off trees and look and forage for food, It was like a driving force to get them to adapt constantly. But by the word constantly, I don't mean like within a lifetime of one primate. I mean like in terms of 10,000 years, in 20,000 years. But these time scales are nothing to a life of a planet. It's like a second, but they make big difference. Uh, so we should be going back, and we should look into the past of Mars and its archaeology, and I expect that there is a lot of reasons to believe there is diversity there, and well, that's right now. I'm a student of this subject, and if you see this video and you wanna send me links to interesting sites that discuss these things, I'm very interested. Also, you can send me text that discusses these things. My email is youractorhassan@gmail.com. I really appreciate it. All right, you have a great day.